Bodega Part Quattro. No, we'll do it normally.
Oh, come on.
Bodega Part Quattro. Clouds of exhaust fumes, the stench of synth oil mixed with coolant, and the musky funk of 1,000 space dock engineers. Bodega choked back the aroma of the Barakian Quanto hub from high up on a gantry. His Gretham shuttle was parked on the roof. Its chameleon stealth field and some fancy flying had made it past the security screens. He rested one hand on his lasgun and the other on his groin, which was itching like hell. Damn Spalupian crotch crabs. 100 meters below.
Not the Spalupians.
Oh, they're the worst. The busy spaceport on the surface of Quanto 4 looked safe enough. Bodega had been scanning the crowds for an hour now, making sure there wasn't an ambush. That business with the smugglers had drawn some weird heat. Fedpol had been all over him like a case of crotch crabs. He wondered just how high up the remote-controlled vehicle smuggling ring went, but that wasn't his business. What was his business was the stench coming from the toilets on his ship. In orbit, cloaked naturally, its legendary ship, the Disco Volante, waited and, frankly, it reeked. He was pretty sure whatever was causing the noxious stank might even be leaking into space. However badly it ponged, it was still his ship. And at the push of a button on his wrist comp, it would decloak and rocket down to Bodega's position. At the push of another button, the ship would self-destruct, taking anything within 100 clicks with it. Bodega had to make sure he pushed the right button. He didn't know why he'd put the two buttons next to each other, but these things happen. What are you going to do?
Were they like a different color or anything?
With the spaceport surveillance complete,
Okay.
Bodega gave his crotch one more good scratch before he jetpacked down to the main floor. Since he wore no cape, the jetpack worked properly. If he'd been wearing a cape, Scrum knows what would have happened. Once down, he collared a Fedorian engineer and demanded a landing berth for his ship. He called the Disco Volante down from orbit by focusing hard and pressing the correct button. The Fedorians were a squat, ugly collection of what Bodega referred to as nerds. They knew everything there was to know about the inner workings of spaceships and computers and nerd shit like that. Loathsome as they were, Bodega had no choice. He'd studied grown-up things like how to tear a man's throat out and how to field strip a Vitarian squirm beam battle pack, so not useful when it came to fixing a busted mega toilet. The crapper needs some work. Got a stink coming off it, worse than, Bodega began to explain before the Fedorian interrupted. Its nasal voice cut through Bodega like a lasgun through a pack of nerds. Before we even get to the toilets, I really have to question your decision to have only one access door to this vessel. You really should have three. To not even have two is pretty terrible. This thing is already a death trap, and the controls are on the wrong side of the door. They should be on the right, and your gangplank is off angle by about 3 degrees. Bodega grimaced. Fucking nerds, he thought. They entered the ship. I don't smell anything wrong here, said the Fedorian. It stinks. The toilet. It's broken. Trust me, said Bodega. It really doesn't, but okay, said the Fedorian, and he made for the toilets. As he entered the main deck of the Disco Volante, he recoiled in horror, pawing at the vid panels and peering into access shafts. Smell it now? Asked Bodega, grinning. No, it's your setup. My God, you have so many things wrong here. Why is your stealth field not firmware upgraded? Look at this wiring. It's like you don't even care. I have no idea why you would get a ship this expensive if you don't even know how to rig the squig indexer correctly. You must be losing like 1.5% more fuel every time you deorbit. The Fedorian was actually sniggering. He was standing there aboard the legendary Disco Volante and laughing at it. At Bodega. Bodega's face hardened. Are you shitting on my ship? He asked, giving the Fedorian one last chance to climb down from the precipice of a really bad time. The ship is a good one, but it's the owner. My Groggle, you have absolutely no idea what you're doing here, do you? This thing is suboptimal. It actually makes me want to put my head in my hands and maybe make a big post about it in the Fedorian engineering forums. The engineer prattled on, not noticing Bodega unholstering his famous las gun and aiming it squarely at the Fedorian's head. Pard, you just cost your planet a spaceport, said Bodega. As the Disco Volante sped into orbit, the Gretham following on autopilot behind, the explosions from the Barakian Quanto hub could be seen for miles around. Lasgun scorching, torpedo blasts, and even some dents from a fist would be found by investigators in the weeks to come. Bodega found the vault with the toilet anyway. He'd been drunk on bum pincher ale and had just forgotten to flush away a particularly unpleasant crap from the previous night. As his ship entered orbit, he flushed. The ship ejected the toxic poop, which tumbled back down to the planet's surface with a hearty plop. A final reminder for the people of this world, don't fuck with Bodega.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay.
I like the crap at the end.
I think. Wow.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Okay. Do you want my storytelling adjunct
Go
to
for
the
it,
end?
go
I think.
for it.
I think what you needed to do was grab the whatever is the flav by the scruff of his neck. The nerd, sorry, by the scruff of his neck, and get his head down there. Fucking get it in the toilet.
What did you say to
Yeah.
Sips? What did you say to Sips last week?
What did I say to Sips?
He tried to correct me and say what you should have done, and you said you can't tell Pyrian what to do. He's an
Oh
artist.
shit! Yeah, you can't
Yeah.
tell.